Good everybody to our extraordinary council meeting of the 23rd of February 2026. Before I start the meeting proper, Councillor Tafoe on Zoom, can you open our meeting please?
Tēnā tātou, kia ora, Madam Chair. Kia hihiri tātou. Kia wātea mai te tapu, kia wātea mai te aroha, kia wātea aira, kua wātea. Tūturu whakamaua kia tina.
Ina.
Koime hui e tai ki.
Aye. Thank you, Councillor Tafoe. To those councillors on Zoom, I've heard Councillor Tafoe, Councillor Karetai, Councillor Campbell and Councillor Grayling. But before we start, may I remind councillors and staff that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and that the recording will be made available on the Bay of Plenty Regional Council website following the meeting. I further remind all present that local government decision-making affords no protection to councillors, council officers, and the public for comments made during meetings that are subsequently challenged in a court of law and determined to be slanderous. I will now call for apologies, please. I currently have an apology from Councillor Shirley. Are there any other apologies? Councillor
Potential early departure, Madam Chair.
Dougal, thank you.
Through the chair, has anyone heard from Councillor McCorkindale?
I was talking to her earlier today and she didn't say that she wasn't coming. I'll call her now.
Thank you.
I'll mark Councillor McCorkindale down for lateness at this time. Can I have a mover for those apologies, please? Thank you, Councillor Scrimger, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Dougal. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against? None. Carried. Thank you. Just moving through for the agenda today, items not on the agenda. There are none. Order of business as is. Declaration of interest.
Yes, Chair. Through Quayside, and I appreciate that the LTP is a proposal, but there's a lot about Quayside in that. So play it safe, I'll declare an interest on the Quayside component parts.
Thank you, Councillor Crosby. I will note that for you as well, Councillor Grayling.
Yes, I was just about to say, could you please note the same in terms of interest for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Noted.
And through the chair, I'll just notice we're going to be talking about the biodiversity funding and things like that. So perhaps I'll just note my interest in conservation projects, including one that I voluntarily project manage through the Tauranga branch of Forest and Bird, and that receives some Bay of Plenty Regional Council biodiversity funding.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Noted. Thank you. We have three special reports, which I just leave for now. Just going through consideration and meet the consideration of items not on the agenda. There are not, and there are none. So I'll now go back to our reports and invite, who have I got up first? Matt, to present our first report, statement of proposal, fees and charges. Thank you, Matt.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, councillors. So the fees and charges statement of proposal Statement of proposal is a formal name for the consultation for your fees and charges that you set each year. And if you adopt it, it will be consulted on as part of the long-term plan amendment and annual plan process. The team is here behind me to answer any specific questions you might have on any of the fees and charges proposals that are in the report. Happy to answer any questions, Madam Chair.
Councillors, any questions?
For me.
Councillor
None
Dougal?
from me.
No, I have no question. I think it's seems to be a combination of the workshops and feedback that you've sorted. So I think the direction of travel is what we've discussed in the workshops. So I have no issues in moving that we accept those recommendations.
Second that. Thank you.
Councillor Dougal moving, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor
you.
Campbell seconding. No further questions. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against? There are none. Thank you. Carried.
It's easy. Good.
Our next report on the adoption of the consultation document. That's you again, Matt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this report seeks your approval of the consultation document for the annual plan 26-27, the long-term plan amendment. A series of briefings and workshops have been held with councillors that brings us to this point. I'm joined, perfect timing, from Audit New Zealand, Anton, to present his audit opinion. So I'll just hand over to Anton, Madam Chair.
Tēnā koutou, councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. I'm pleased to be here today to issue an unqualified independent auditor's report on the Bay of Plenty Regional Council's 2434 consultation document to the amendment of the long-term plan. Just please note, our opinion only covers pages 15 to 31 of the document. So it's LTP amendment versus annual plan. Basically, in our opinion, the consultation document provides an effective basis for public participation in Council's decisions about the proposed content of its 2434 long-term plan amendment. We believe this is the case because it fairly presents the matters proposed in the inclusion in the long-term plan, identifies and explains the issues and choices facing the Council and region and the consequences of those choices. The information and assumptions underlying the consultation document are also reasonable. This particular item was quite a technical matter, so a lot of our work was sort of trying to make sure the CD actually explained the issues, options, and impacts. We also reviewed the underlying information that Council and management have worked through. This also, in particular, relating to the impact of rates, debt, and levels of service. And we believe this has been achieved. The other positive, this opinion for the CD has no emphasis on meta paragraphs or other modifications to the opinion. A successful CD and LTP amendment process is heavily reliant on effective planning of the whole LTP amendment project. The development of an LTP amendment is significant and complex project, and a comprehensive plan is required. Having support of management and the involvement of councillors is a critical element to the success of a project like this. And this appears to have been the case here. So finally, I'd just like to thank Kumaran, Pirimal, Mark Lecomte, Nalini Nordia, and the rest of the team. And I know there's probably a lot of other names I've missed off, and the efforts for getting to the points of this process. So if there's any questions, I can take them now.
Any questions, councillors? Councillor McMillan.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we're doing this because, Anton, obviously that there's a few, like with little wording things, that's not so much your concern, or it is. I just don't know when to raise. There's just a couple of little phraseologies and wordings. Is that for later or is that now?
Madam Chair. So there is an opportunity to make editorial comments and amendments that don't affect the substance of the long-term plan amendment. So that generally you receive the audit opinion, and then if there are any questions to do with the content, we can deal with
Yeah.
those following that.
Yeah, yep. Thanks.
If there are no more questions, councillors, what we're going to do is to get a mover for the recommendations 1 to 5, and then we're going to allow for the audit document to be signed, and then we'll go into the recommendations for 6 till 10. So can I have a mover for
Move 1 to 5, Chair.
Councillor Crosby? Thank you, Councillor McMillan. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Carried. We'll allow the document to be signed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So would you like to deal with any other material or questions or discussion you'd like to have on the consultation document itself, including ones from Councillor McMillan?
I'll open that to the councillors now, starting with you, Councillor McMillan.
Oh, thank you. I may have to do a bit of scrolling back and forth, but I suppose the first one where it talks about, says page 78. Anything else that regional council does or funds? I having gone through the previous LTP, I met a lot of people that didn't realise that they could submit on any topic they wanted. So I'm just wondering if that can be somehow much more visible and apparent,
Yes.
that they don't have to answer those questions, they can say anything they want. So that's one thing. On page 80, it talks about our focus is on ensuring the sustainable growth of our region. Sustainable growth is an oxymoron, so I'm wondering if it could say sustainable development instead of growth.
I'm just making a note, and I know
Yeah,
Ange
look,
will
you know,
be doing
you
as well.
can toss these
Yep.
out, they're just observations of mine. Scrolling back up, and this could be a bigger topic, because it appears in lots of places. But on page 76, it says committed to delivering essential services while keeping rates as affordable as possible for our communities. I know that is our mechanism, but it's whether, like, throughout the document when it refers to rates, should it be switched out for the word costs? Because sometimes it looks like we are focused only on the ratepayer as opposed to the wider community who all pay rates, but they either pay directly or indirectly. Whether if they're renting, they're paying rates indirectly, and if they're homeowners, they're paying rates directly. So that's possibly a wider topic, but it appears throughout, and I don't know how to overcome this, but
So that's a very good
Yeah.
point, Madam Chair. So I think through the report, as Councillor Millen points out, we should be emphasising the reduction of costs, which then whoever is paying those costs could be ratepayers, it could be the use of the dividend, it could be fees and charges. That will be the downstream impact. So if you're happy, Madam Chair, what we'll do is we'll look for wherever we're giving emphasis onto rates and see whether expanding that to include the focus on cost reduction and keeping costs down, that we will include that as well as terminology for the community.
Good, thank you.
Great, I've got just a couple more. I won't keep you much longer, but page 88, where it says, why do we need to think about change now? I'm personally, I would be more comfortable with the health of our environment is under strain being number 2, not number 3. So at the moment, it talks about the investment portfolio has grown, number 1. Number 2, our region is changing and continues to grow. And then the third thing down the list is the health of our environment is under strain. Look, that's probably a political request. Others may not feel the same, but to me, it's a fundamental issue and it should be up front. So I don't know what others think about that. So I'll park that there for now. And my only other comment, and I won't go scrolling right through to find all of the examples, but there's quite a few examples where, in my mind, if I was to put a lens around the regional development opportunities, so, you know, this, you know, the O1 with the 50 million, and then the second thing, whatever that gets called. If I put the lens of, I'm somebody who just wants to build roads, not cycleways, not bus lanes, not climate resilience, not climate adaptation, not biodiversity, but I just want to build roads, roads, roads. I'm still looking at the way that's worded throughout this, thinking I'm gonna take that money and build a road. So to me, it doesn't pass the roads only test in terms of what regional development is. So, and I think we've talked about this before, but in my mind, there needs to be more definition on, and whatever you call it. I know, for example, in Wales with the Future Generations Commissioner, they talk about putting a future generations lens on that regional development topic. So you wouldn't build a road because that's not future proofed in terms of multimodal and healthy living. So however we cover this off, I just wonder whether there needs to be some kind of explanation on what regional development is or isn't. And I know before I talked about the quadruple bottom line being the way of framing it, that it actually ticks, you know, environmental, social, cultural, as well as economic. But I don't know if that's then too much definition or how we cover that off. But I'll leave it there, but I'm slightly nervous about, you know, if I was to take all of us away and plant a bunch of people here that wanted to build roads, could they do that? Is my question.
So through you, Madam Chair, what we've done so far is to keep it as open as possible to get feedback, so that future council decision making, you would then decide it's not a road or it's not a this or it is a that. So rather than
Right.
go through a list of things which are excluded at this stage, because
Yeah.
roads might be one of them that you exclude, but there may be others as well.
Yeah.
And because of the time frame, you haven't defined those things that are in or out. You've said regional benefit, and it will be future council decision making, including at deliberations, where you'll be able to say, based on feedback in the consultation, it's this and it's not that, and be definitive about that. So at the moment, still open-mindedly going into consultation, but there definitely will be the time, May deliberations, where you'll be able to be clearer about what that is and what that isn't.
Okay, thank you. I'm comfortable with that. Thanks.
Through you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd just like to express some thanks to the Chief Executive, the leadership team and all the staff and the auditors and all our partners. This council has asked you to do a annual plan consultation out of cycle, and we've also asked for this extraordinary meeting to give our community as much time to consult on these important issues as possible. But we do know that takes a lot of effort, energy and hard work. So thank you everyone for getting these documents together in such quick time, and also that we can get out to our communities as quickly as possible to seek their input. So thank you for that. My specific question relates to page 89 of our agenda, page 18 of the document. When we're talking around what we want to achieve, under purpose 1, we specifically talk around about we're proposing the amount of income allocated to this purpose is limited to 50 million. And in our footnote 4, we talk around about the regional council may receive more than this as a dividend from Quayside. However, the amount of this dividend that can be used for this purpose would be limited. My question is probably just around about including the word limited, given that we're talking about a long-term plan and a 10-year period. Limiting something to 50 million plus inflation in 5 or 7 years' time could be open to interpretation around what 50 million actually looks like in real terms in this period. So I just want to Not going to snooker ourselves. I note later on in the document, we do talk about that the council will have the ability to adjust those settings, but just want to make sure we're not, by using that word limited to 50 million, that we're creating a precedent. Thank you.
Thank you, and to you, Madam Chair. So the 50 million is an indicative amount as a placeholder, so it's really clear to the community the sort of sum we're talking about. So rather than just have a historical sum or leave the sum blank, the idea is to see what that value is. But there are future council decision making similar to the decisions at deliberations that council will need to go through with statement of expectations, statement of intent, where that amount will be set each year, and what the indication for that purpose is. An amount potentially around that 50 million would be the amount that was set aside, and then the other purposes are the funds above that. But you will have opportunities, as it says in later on in the document, through council decision-making processes to lock that number down each year. And some of those will be through your long-term plan, which you'll need to consult on as well. So some of those will lead to future consultation exercises. But at the moment, we felt it was useful to have a placeholder indicative amount so that you would get feedback around that amount as well, too high, too low, about right, through the consultation period.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? Oh, Councillor Scrimgeour.
Excuse me, I had a question relates to the regional fund reserve on page 108. Says there, when we use this fund, the amount taken is replenished over time via general rates. And my question is, really, would it be more acceptable to ratepayers if we said we used quayside dividends to replenish those reserves rather than rating to? I accept that once all the money's in the big pot, it's only a matter of semantics. But I just felt it would be more acceptable to ratepayers. I'd be happy to comment.
Thank you. And through you, Madam Chair, generally through your long-term plan and the broader financial strategy settings, you would assess that. Where is it best to receive the money and where is it best to put it? So in our general commentary here, we're talking about decisions you make on a particular item. But in your long-term plan, when you're having the broader conversation on your full financial strategy, it's exactly at that time you'll say, is it better for the ratepayer that that's what the funding source for the regional fund rather than ratepayer funding? But at the moment, this is just looking at a very narrow view for this long-term plan amendment rather than reviewing your whole financial strategy and where that funding comes from and all of the financial levers that you have at hand. You'll do that through your long-term plan, which will begin soon as well.
Any other questions? Councillor Kumar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the Chair. Madam Chair, just wanting to know what the impact would be on this long-term plan, especially as the government is introducing kept rating from 2027. So have we included that factor into this long-term plan?
So the current, through Madam Chair, so through the current proposals for capping, the amount that council is setting here, the 4%, is within the target amount that the government have proposed, but it still is just that, a proposal. And you'll want to look through your long-term plan on rates increases beyond 26-27 to see what the correct rates increases would be if the capping environment was created. So the 4% that was signalled at your earlier workshops, that figure hasn't changed, and that is not been adjusted because there are proposals from central government. But through your long-term plan, when you're looking over multiple years, you'll definitely want to revisit your rate strategy as part of your financial strategy. So 4%, that's the figure that was discussed at your annual plan workshops.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, through the Chair, and a big thank you to staff for putting together this this big, complicated piece of work. And just to say, I think it is really exciting to have it before us, and there is a real opportunity to do something for the legacy of the Bay of Plenty, the whole region, and all of the communities. So fantastic to have that, and I hope everyone engages in it. And I'd just really like to tautoko the points raised by Councillor McMillan, thinking about the comments around ratepayers and costs and that whole, looking at the broader community, and just picking up on that, looking at the financial strategy on 129. And it just starts with our financial strategy will ensure that we keep rates affordable, and then it talks about efficiency and effectiveness. And I just wondered if we might like to look at that wording a bit more. So rates affordability is one thing, but actually in terms of affordability, efficiency and effectiveness, we owe that to the whole community as well. So I wonder if it almost needs to be separated out as 2 points to reflect the broader, there's almost 2 value statements in there. So perhaps we might have one for ratepayers and then also reflect our role to service the whole of the community.
Including ratepayers, but not exclusively for ratepayers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good point, Madam Chair, and I know the team behind me are just scribbling that down. It doesn't change the substance in terms of needing the audit process because it is a fact, and it's not emphasised in the report. So that emphasis we'll add.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, councillors? Oh, we've got that.
So you've got it, it's been carried.
Yeah. It was Councillor Crosby and Councillor Dougal. Okay. All right, councillors, we're looking for a mover now. Go back to our recommendations, and we're looking for a mover for recommendations 6 to 10, please.
Happy to move 6
Councillor
to 10.
Maltby. Councillor Dougal, second. Any other questions? All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Any against?
Aye.
None? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Well done. Thank you. Moving to our next report, our half-year financial performance report, 2025 to 26. Diligent, page 198, hard copy, page 198. Kumaran.
Yeah, Madam Chair and councillors, so this report is the second financial performance report councillors have received for this financial year. Essentially, the forecast information in the report indicates council's well on track to achieve its budget targets through the annual plan process. I'll take the report as read and happy to take any questions.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Dougal.
Through the chair, no questions, team. That means you've done a good job on track. Thank you.
I have a mover and seconder. Councillor Scrimger, moving. Seconder, please. Councillor Graham. No other comments? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Any against? There are none. Thank you, councillors. Carried. Wow. Record time, councillors. Very good. Everyone's done their homework. Okay. Councillor Tapo, can I ask you to give us a closing karakia, please?
Sure. That was a beautiful hui. Half an hour. Loving it. Tēnā koe, Madam
Done well.
Chair.
You've all done well.
We have ngā mihi nui hoki ki ngā kaimahi o tō tata nei toi moana o te rā kia koe Fiona me tō tima nei rata mihi, nei rata mihi. O te rā kia tātou ngā kai kaunihera o tēnei o tō tata nei takiwa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tata katoa. Kia wātea mai te pai, kia wātea mai te tapu, kia wātea mai te huarahi o te tika me te pono, kia wātea, aira kua wātea, tuturu whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e, hui e, tai ki e.